Them never before.
So, you folks in the kitchen, do you want to come and be more with us?
No more tea.
No, the busy.
Well, you have to either come in or you have to stay out for the dictation because I don't want to keep Master Mo waiting.
Oh, great.
They don't have invitations.
What?
They do not know anything about invitations.
But I do. No, I just feel that the Master's ready. Then I want to. Yeah, so. I am indeed the Ascended Master More, or as I have been known in the past, M, Moya, El Moya, Bapu, or other names. What is in a name? I am more than any name. I am more than Master More. I am more than ever before. What could hold an Ascended Master to any image that can exist in the physical octave on a planet like Earth? Nothing, nothing, my beloved, could ever hold me. Whatever image anyone projects upon me, be they fallen beings or Ascended Master students, not that those two are necessarily mutually exclusive, I will be more than that image. You will never reach me if you hold on to an image from the past. What is the past? 1 second ago is the past, my beloved. As quickly as you can think, it is the past. Do you realize that the human mind has a certain interval where it is capable of distinguishing time? It is very close to what you call a second, but you can actually distinguish shorter intervals. But that is the past. When that interval has passed, everything before is in the past. Now you may say, that interval is so short that my conscious mind cannot keep up. I cannot consciously think, oh, this is in the past, now I'm in the present. Nay, you cannot. But why do you need to distinguish between past and present and future? Why does there need to be anything but now? Why do you need this separation, this division of time into past, present, and future? Flow with the eternal now. Then you are being more than ever before. Even though there is no before, there is no after, there is only now. This is the true joy of being in the flow of the river of life. The manifestations of anti-love are the ones who want to separate everything, divide everything up into these separate categories. And then they want to say that what happened in the past will affect the now and will determine the future. Think about the Indian concept of karma, where everything that happens in your life is predetermined by your karma from past lives. If that was the case, my beloved, what would be the entire purpose of life? Is it not to expand your consciousness? How do you expand your consciousness? By making choices. So, if everything in your present is determined by the past, where's the room for choices? You may say, but my karma was created by me making choices in the past. Yes, that is true. But if your past choices could take away your ability to make choices in the now, where would be the learning? Where would be the purpose of life? Would a loving God create such a universe where you could make one choice that would take away your ability to undo that choice by making another choice? What kind of God would do this? Certainly not the God that I know. But it may be the God that the fallen beings have invented, and that many people on earth worship because they think this God needs worshipping. And my beloved, the false God created by the fallen beings needs to be worshipped by human beings, because that God has no reality and ever cannot receive the energy from the ascended realm that I am feeling flowing through me constantly. And so it needs energy from human beings, and that is why it needs to be worshipped. How could a formless God ever need anything from human beings on earth? Yes, the formless God needs one thing. It needs to give of itself. And it is those who are willing to receive. That is what closes the figure eight flow. That the real God desires. Deity desires to flow, to become more. Through you, when you are becoming more. The creator of the universe has already attained the creator consciousness. It cannot become more by being more of a creator. It becomes more by creating extensions of itself, sending them into the unascended sphere, and then as they grow in consciousness, the creator becomes more through you. Why would the creator create a universe where you cannot become more, where there's a limitation to how much you can become more, where there's a limitation to what you can transcend? No God would do this, except a false God that has no reality. I no longer pay any attention to those false gods. Why would you? Why would you think you need to? Look at yourselves, my beloved, and be honest with yourselves. Almost every one of you have some false image of God that you are carrying with you, not only in this lifetime, but from past lifetimes. I'm not blaming you for this. It is almost inevitable to live on this planet for several lifetimes without being indoctrinated, programmed with this false image of God. I'm not trying to find fault. I'm not asking you to find fault with yourself. I'm just asking you to recognize, oh yes, I do tend to look at God a certain way. And obviously this is not the real God. And then decide you are willing to let it go. You're willing to be free of these images. My beloved, how do the fallen beings keep you trapped in the separate self, in the duality consciousness? Do you realize that there was a time for most of you when you were in the etheric realm, looking at earth? Most of you who are spiritual people were not created to take your first embodiment on earth. You had embodied on other planets before. So you had come to a point where you had the free will choice. You did not have to go back to your old planet. You could embody on another planet. You looked at Earth and you saw the need, because you saw how the original inhabitants had all been trapped in this veil, in this downward spiral. And you saw that the only realistic way to change this was that someone would embody who was not trapped in the spiral, who had a higher level of consciousness, and therefore could pull the inhabitants up. So you looked at Earth, at whatever stage that was, and you decided that you wanted to come here and take embodiment. Now for some people on Earth, this is their first embodiment on this planet. Even some of the spiritual people that are mature souls, it is their first embodiment on this planet. Many souls have embodied for the first time on Earth at this specific time because they wanted to help bring about the transition from Pisces to Aquarius, and they wanted to help Saint Germain manifest the Golden Age. Many of you have helped Saint Germain manifest the Golden Age on other planets before Earth. And so, you wanted to be part of it. There are also many of you who have been on this planet for many lifetimes. But nevertheless, there came a point where you descended into embodiment for the first time on this planet. I can assure you, and I need to assure you because you have all suppressed the memory, that being in the etheric octave and looking down on earth is one thing. Yes, you can of course see that there are problems on earth. You can see there are many conditions that are not the way they should be. That is why you want to come and help. But there's no way from the etheric octave that you can actually know how dense it is to be an embodiment on earth. It is impossible. So the moment you take physical embodiment for the first time, and the moment you become more conscious of what is going on this planet, you will experience a shock. There is not one person who has taken embodiment after the earth started its downward spiral who has not experienced a severe shock of being an embodiment for the first time. Now you may know that there are people who talk about the shock of being born physically in this lifetime, and how most people have suppressed it, and how you can go back and re-experience it, and thereby overcome this birth trauma. But I am talking about a birth trauma of taking embodiment for the first time. The fallen beings, at least some of them, are aware of what is going on. Some of them have the ability to track when a new life stream comes into embodiment for the first time on earth. Those fallen beings are in the identity realm, but they have a hierarchy below them, a false hierarchy below them that goes into the mental, the emotional, and the physical. They have some ability to tune into your life stream, what kind of a life stream you are. And then they can instruct those below them, going all the way to the physical, to expose you to a situation that for you is the most severe, appalling, repulsive situation you could possibly imagine. They know exactly what is your worst case scenario, and they will use their underlings, as we might call them, to put you in a physical situation where you are exposed to what you consider the worst thing that could happen to you. So many people have been exposed to war, torture, and other forms of abuse. This is a manifestation of anti-love, that is a perversion of the first way of power, where the fallen beings in all four octaves cause you to be exposed to such an abuse of power that you find it absolutely appalling and shocking. You feel this should not happen to anybody. This simply should not be happening. And when you react this way, this is when you go into a state of shock. Because while you were in the etheric octave, you could see that there were things going on the planet. But you were not in them, and you knew that you were not affected by what happened in the physical octave. But when you come into physical embodiment, it is almost inevitable that you forget that you are a spiritual being who cannot be affected by what happens in the physical octave. So, when you are in the physical body, you are experiencing the pain, the trauma, the suffering of the physical body. You cannot keep the awareness that, oh, I'm a spiritual being and nothing that happens to the body defines me. There comes a point where the body is exposed to such torture, such pain, that it is virtually impossible for anyone to stay unattached to this. And so there comes that point where the fallen beings have exposed you to such trauma that they force you to experience the full pain of it. You cannot remain non-attached. There is that state of total pain that we have all experienced the first time we took embodiment on this planet. This becomes a wound in your being, a wound in your soul, in your four lower bodies. It is a pain that seemed overwhelming to you at the time. And it was overwhelming to you given your level of consciousness at the time. I'm not in any way blaming you. I reacted the same way when I first took embodiment. So did all who have taken embodiment. What I am seeking here is to help you acknowledge this cosmic birth trauma and free yourself from it. Some of you will have a sense of what this is. Some of you will be able to look at what is it that disturbs me most on earth? What is the condition I really would like to eradicate? What is it I really feel should not be happening? You may not have been exposed to it in this lifetime, but you have seen other people be exposed to it, and you are saying, this really should not be going on. Well, this will tie into what happened to you in your first embodiment. And if you will contemplate it, you will gain greater clarity on what it is in you. But of course, it is not enough to contemplate. You need to recognize that there is a certain amount of energy that has been qualified through that wound. And you need to make the calls to us, invoke the light to consume it, so that you come to that point where you can begin to look at it. Because I tell you truly, there is only one way to be free from this trauma, and that is to do what neither your ego, nor the fallen beings, nor most human beings would want you to do, and that is to go straight back into it and re-experience it. There is no way to be free of any experience you have had on earth by running away from that experience and the pain that it caused. You cannot be free from anything by running away from it. You can be free only by going right into it and then experiencing that because you have moved on in consciousness, it no longer defines you. You are no longer identified with it. You're no longer imprisoned by it. What the fallen beings want you to believe, what your ego wants you to believe, is that if you go into this original pain, you will die. You will be overwhelmed again. It will be too much for you. But you see, you have moved on since you first came to this planet. Most of you have moved on way beyond in consciousness. And therefore, it is the same as being an adult who goes back into a childhood trauma or birth trauma. You can deal with it now because you realize that you are not having the same experience as you had the first time. You are not being overwhelmed. You are not completely going into the pain. You can distance yourself from it. And when you go into it and experience, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I didn't die. I didn't become destroyed. I didn't become swallowed up by the pain. I'm just standing here. I'm looking at the swirling energy, and I'm looking at the beliefs, and I'm looking at all these beings in the astral plane, and I'm realizing this is not me. This is just something that a part of me, the outer self, experienced. But I am more than this experience. And therefore I can look at it and say, you no longer own me. You no longer define me. This is not who I am. Get thee behind me, Satan. For I see your unreality. And I see and experience my own reality and the reality of the Ascended Master. We're not saying you have to do this all by yourself. Whichever master is close to your heart, we are here to assist you with this. We will assist you very far along the way, but there does come a point where we cannot assist you anymore, where you must take that step on your own, that final step of confronting your own demons, as the popular saying goes, and seeing that it is not real. You understand that what I'm giving you here is the key to how the fallen beings trap people by abusing the power they have in the physical octave to expose you to this trauma. this reality, this reality that you think is reality, this idea that because of what happened to you in the past, this is defining your present experience of life and what will happen to you in the future. And that is what I aim to shatter in you, that illusion. They are really saying that what you did with your will in the past has suspended what you can do with your will in the present and for all eternity. That is a manifestation of anti-love. I am determined to see you free from it if you are willing, but you have to supply the will. I cannot will for you. Once you have willed, I can reinforce your choice. I can help you, but I cannot will you to make the choice. It is your choice to make. But you need to know, and this is what I can do for you, give you the absolute knowledge that there is no choice that cannot be undone by making a higher choice. That is the eternal law. That is why it is possible to take a planet into the low state that you see on Earth right now, because there is no limitation to free will, but that works both ways. You can create any kind of misery you want, even the misery you don't consciously want, but you can also uncreate any kind of misery you have created. You can be free from it. I am free from any misery on earth. I am free from my birth trauma that followed me to my last embodiment. Make no mistake of it. This will be the last thing you overcome before you are free to ascend, because it was the first thing that trapped you in the lower state of consciousness. The challenge, the trap that they spring upon you is that when you have been exposed to this first trauma, you are obviously experiencing that it was some outside force that forced this experience upon you. And indeed, it was an outside force in the physical that forced it upon you, namely the fallen beings and their henchmen. So what the fallen beings have projected upon you is that you are here to overcome, to banish the forces that exposed you to this trauma, so that other people are not exposed to it. And therefore they project upon you that you have to engage in some kind of struggle, some kind of battle with these external forces. And they want you to believe that once those forces are removed from the earth, you will be free of your trauma. But you see, my beloved, you did not invite those forces to come to earth. They were invited here by other choices, other beings who made choices. You cannot undo the choices of those other beings. So what can you do? You can undo your own choices. You can realize that I am here to make a positive difference on this planet. But I do not make a positive difference by fighting the fallen beings and the forces of darkness. I make a positive difference by transcending their state of consciousness. And how do I do this? By transcending the consciousness in myself that caused me to react to them in such a way that it gave me this original trauma. This is your highest service on earth. When you free yourself from that state of consciousness, then you will pull up on the collective and pull up on all other people in embodiment. That is what you came here to do. Was it wrong? Was it bad that you reacted the way you did? Nay, you took it on. But you didn't take it on to carry it with you forever. You didn't take it on in order to have the impetus to fight the fallen beings. You took it on in order to demonstrate that whatever you had taken on of condition in this world, you can transcend it. You can transcend it by your willpower, your will to be free, your will to be more. I am the Ascended Master more. All I want for you is for you to be more. When you have the will to be more, you are inviting me to come into your life and give you maximum help and support. I do not want to force you in any way. I just want you to know I am here for you whenever you make the decision. I will to be more. And as Mother Mary said, which is one of the most profound teachings you will ever hear, when you are not willing to be more, you are subconsciously saying, Master More, leave me alone. I'm not done with experiencing what is less. I'm not ready for more yet. But the moment you decide that you're ready for more, that is when I can truly assist you in a way that you cannot possibly dream about today. I put no limitations on what can happen, of how much more you can become. There can never, ever come a point where I would want to hold you back from becoming more. I'm not afraid of you surpassing me, as many parents and teachers on earth. I love nothing more than see you become more. But also I have no comparison. You cannot become more than me, because you can only come more than yourself, more of yourself. And that is how we all grow, to realize that we are infinite beings. It is not a matter of comparison. In the ascended realm, all comparisons and value judgments fall away. I am not more than Saint Germain. I am more, and he is Germain. But one is not more than the other. I become more, and he becomes more Germain, and that is how it should be. There's no threat there. You become more you. That is my desire for you. You have been so programmed on earth to think that you are less, that you should be less, that you have to be less, that you can only be less, that you are not allowed to be more. But I tell you, you are. You are allowed to be more. How can I say this? Because I am the Chohan of the first way. I am the one who determines how the first ray can be expressed on earth. And I am giving you permission to be more. I am the only one who can give you that permission, because that is my position in hierarchy. And I am giving you permission to be more than ever before. And with that, my beloved, I thank you for your attention, for your love, for your deep love that I feel, that so many Ascended Master students have for me. Whatever name they choose to use, I respond to all of them, but I still want you to know I am also more than all of them, as you are more than your name. For what can hold spirit? Certainly not anything on a planet like Earth. Truly, I am spirit, and so are you. In that awareness, we are one. In fact, we are more than one, because even oneness is a concept that can be said to have an opposite. But what we really are can have no